create solutions to problems which we are facing.
We frequently have these opportunities to make one small change, one small innovation that can change the world and help lots of people. So I knew from the beginning I wanted to be an engineer.
I wanted to do something meaningful, in which I felt that I could make an impact on others and on society, and that's why I chose engineering.
University of Houston stood for the diversity and for the innovation that is unlike anywhere else in this country. So I knew this was the place that I wanted to be.
And I feel that the Cullen College of Engineering has really prepared me to take on my role as a civil engineer once I enter industry.
It truly is an honor for me to receive this scholarship and to feel that the alumni have faith in our students, have faith in our university, and are willing to give me this prestigious honor to receive this scholarship award.
Receiving the UH-EAA scholarship means a lot to me personally and financially. It brings me one step closer to achieving my dream of becoming a civil engineer.
Now going into my final year, this scholarship has enabled me to explore opportunities that I wouldn't have had before. It enabled me to stay on campus and to feel secure financially in a position that, you know, I'm not stressing as much about being able to pay for my books as I am making sure that I make an A on the exam.
Once I graduate, I hope to pay it forward to the students that are in the same spot that I am by being there for them and continuing my involvement with the Cullen College of Engineering.
This has only amplified my love for the University of Houston. It's amplified my want and drive to go out there, to be a successful individual, and to, more importantly, come back and to give back to the school that gave me all these great opportunities.
The Cullen College of Engineering has really equipped me to take on the real world once I graduate. I feel that the personal and professional development that I have attained in my years here at the University of Houston is the one that I wouldn't have received at any other college.
First of all, to all of y'all, I again will give you my welcome to this 12th Annual Undergraduate Research Day. Today we have over 200 undergraduate research presenting at our event and truly demonstrate the University of Houston's commitment to undergraduate excellence through student engagement and faculty mentorship.
Just to kind of put things in perspective, our first event, which was 11 years ago, we had 27 presenters. So you are part of a momentum and exciting culture here at the university.
As provost, I just want to say congratulations to all of you for the work you're doing. I know that you're about really important work and exciting work. I wish you the best and go do.
I'm looking at the sound and the visualization of EEG. So what I can do is I can hear differences when my eyes are closed versus eyes are open, and that can be implemented in a hospital setting with concussion patients, other patients that should not be falling asleep, but are. I really enjoy having these opportunities as an undergrad because it really helps me decide kind of what I want to do.
We are trying to use a microstrip patch antenna to cancel the radar wave. When the radar sends the signal, we don't want the signal to go back to the radar and let the radar know the location of our military stuff. This is my first time in undergraduate research day, and I knew the knowledge before I started this, but I didn't know how to apply them. So this led me to know how actually things work in real life with real objects.
What I'm doing is a neuroinformatic analysis of psychoarchitecture. What that is looking into the mathematical aspects of brain biology. Giving the maximum amount of opportunity for research is how you're going to see innovation. But that's my goal. Capable as possible, most likely grad school or straight to a PhD study.
Over the summer, I worked as a research assistant in Dr. Becker's Swarm Lab. I think it's an essential experience that every undergrad should take to figure out whether they fit in academia or industry. When I researched, it was so fun because this was a problem that wasn't solved. You know, I can't go to the back of the book, find the solution. You feel more empowered because you get to take what you learn from classes and actually apply it to unsolved problems.
Cougar Junior Scholars ranges from incoming 7th grade to 9th graders. The idea is for them to get introduced to college campuses and how they can work with professors and kind of look at a bunch of different subject matters so that they can be exposed to this at a young age and kind of shape what they're going to do in the future. The students take an English and literature class. They are in a chemistry class and in engineering, and they come up with a presentation at the end of the week based on their own topics, and they're going to present that on Friday to the parents.
I enjoyed that we had a lot of hands-on activities as well as being able to learn different things about engineering that I never thought I'd actually be learning as much.
There's more than one engineer, which I think is interesting, and we went through more than one engineer.
So you could be like a civil engineer and you could do more building and actual like architectural stuff, or you could be like a different kind of engineer who does more in a lab and experiment and stuff like that.
So day before yesterday, we actually worked in the area of civil engineering, and they did a building activity where they constructed buildings out of 3x5 index cards. And yesterday we did a speaker lab where they actually made a speaker out of a paper plate. And today, like I said, we're going to be showing them different aspects of applied electromagnetics.
The engineering part was really fun because it was kind of competitive, and you got to get a team of 4 people
and you would build something different every day, which was really fun.
In the past, I mean, I've seen it this year and I've seen it last year too, where students are like, oh, this is exciting, I want to go into electrical engineering, and they understand that, okay, so whatever you learn in a textbook can actually be applied in real life, and I think that's very satisfying. They get an idea of what university is like, what type of courses are taught, basically a more fundamental understanding and a nice invitation and introduction into school. Like, I think that's the main reason, trying to excite students for higher education.
I actually grew up in South Louisiana. I went to University of Louisiana at Lafayette, got my personnel management degree in business administration. I realized that engineering was for me when I was working for an oil company as an administrator, and I was working with all of these engineers. And so it piqued my curiosity, and when the economy kind of crashed and I got a job that I was hating, and I said, this is the time to go back to school. And I said, okay, I was 29 years old going back to school, thinking, okay, I can't fail. Everybody knows I'm making the decision to go back to school, so I've got to do it. So I took that chance and went into University of Houston, and I loved it. I got very involved in ASCE and any other activities that I could with respect to being attracted to civil engineering. As I decide, okay, I'm going to go back for engineering, what is it that I want? A lot of people told me what I should do based upon economics, but I was more or less driven because I want to get out in the field and see and do. And then I graduated from University of Houston in engineering. It was the worst time in 40 years to graduate with a civil engineering degree, but I was fortunate to have already landed a part-time job with a road and bridge contractor, and then they took me on and I worked for several years for them, and it still really wasn't what I wanted, and then I saw an opportunity in municipal government. I had two wonderful careers with the City of Sugar Land for over 18 years. First, I reached the ranks of city engineer, and then the city manager asked me to be the director of intergovernmental relations. And then the Mayor Parker, she says, I want you to be the director of public works. And it has just been an honor and a privilege to be able to serve in this capacity. And I get up every day knowing there's going to be something different. This department has over 3,700 employees. We've got laborers, semi-skilled laborers, we've got equipment operators, you've got operators in the plants, and you have engineers and administrators and lawyers and CPAs. It's incredible the diversity of the workforce that we have just within the department. I was dumbfounded because the people that are on that list who have received this award, in my mind, they're top caliber, and I figured maybe they wanted to lower their standard a little bit. I'm very appreciative to Houston, Texas, and the University of Houston. They welcomed me and allowed me to root here and to expand here. I remember Bob Lanier, former mayor, and he hit the nail on the head with respect to Houston, Texas, when he said, in Houston, it doesn't matter who your daddy is, because it's also very welcoming.
First time I ever watched 2001: Space Odyssey, I was probably like 7. I didn't know what was happening, and then there were suddenly monkeys, and I think I fell asleep within the first 30 minutes. The first time I watched it all the way through, I was probably 16. I was blown away at that point. Everything else is these huge jumps to crazy super future or like a whole different galaxy, right? And that one kind of kept it down to earth. You had to spin the ship so you could keep the gravity. And of course, now I understand why they were doing that, where what we want to do and what we need to do is to design a craft that allows all the luxuries of being a human on a planet that's open, and the ability to walk and move around freely, to communicate with those that you love, and to still be able to do your work at the same time. We're working to look at the human first, and then work the engineering around him or her.
Why movies are so powerful is because when you're watching it, You're brought into the scene and the movie evokes a lot of emotion in you.
The movies that are based on like true stories about like scientists, engineers, I think those are really inspiring. They make you feel like, wow, this person has done something so great. You know, you want to kind of be like them. So I think they have a pretty big role.
As a female engineer, the way that I see other female engineers being portrayed, female scientists, or any females in the STEM major, they don't really seem as someone who is as competent as their male colleagues.
I do apologize for that. By the way, if I cause you any problems, I am sorry.
I believe that movies will be able to encourage women, children, people of all races and genders to do whatever they feel like doing, and the STEM field is no exception.
The first person who pops to my mind was the space commander in The Martian. I was so happy when I found out a female was making those calls. I think that was a good example of women being tough and being in charge.
We do this together or not at all.
When people watch movies, they kind of put themselves in that scenario. If they see a female actress, they think they can become that actress, which helps.
If I had to make a movie about our research, it would be kind of like one of those Pixar movies where you see all the action, where you see little robots going through and they're fighting bad guys. And although it's not necessarily accurate, it's a good depiction of how eventually we want these robots to be inside your bodies fighting whatever is bad.
Swarm of robots, harness the power of strength in numbers. They can't do anything by themselves, but they can do a lot with each other.
Our ultimate goal is being able to navigate these micro and nano robots inside the body. In order to do that, we are working on the controllers with bigger robots because we are just now trying to see that if it is possible to control a large number of robots with very limited inputs.
When it comes to people who aren't engineers, movies do a really good job of making it pretty and cool. We are getting a team together to finance, design, manufacture, market, and race a formula-style racing car. If I were to turn this research project into a movie, something like Fast and the Furious and The End of Little Rascals, where they just have this derby race and it's completely falling apart the whole time, but they do it.
You get these movies that are so fantasy, but we work towards them because someone had the imagination to move you towards them. I mean, I don't know how long it would have taken us to start talking about faster than light travel or time travel. Just think of something, put it out there, and then it might one day be possible, right? No matter how ridiculous it sounds. These more engineering-based movies and science fictions become more exciting as they become a more viable option.
Most of the scientists and engineers that exist now often went into this area because they saw science fiction movies and they got inspired by the cool gadgets like the hoverboard and whatnot.
I need to borrow your hoverboard. Where is he? Here.
Using superconducting technology, they can make these objects levitate in air. If I were a student, there would be nothing more impressive than a middle-aged professor entering a classroom on a hoverboard. We want to build this hoverboard to inspire young children to get excited about mechanical engineering and show that how versatile mechanical engineering can be. We can do things all the way ranging from building missiles to airplanes to hoverboards.
I think romanticizing it and making it fun is a big part that you have to do because a lot of it is work and it's hard. But when you get to the end, that's the fun part. And then you get to like sit and say, wow, we did this. And that's what it's about. So definitely when it comes to people who aren't scientists or engineers, being able to romanticize that and make that fun definitely brings a lot of different type of people to the crowd, which I like.
I'm a little nervous, honestly. It's my first time, but I'm also very excited to meet new people.
This is the first time that I've been to the career fair, so I was expecting it to be crowded and everything, but I wasn't expecting a lot of the recruiters to be as approachable as they were.
I definitely talked to a lot of employers that were really interested in what I had to say, what I was doing here in college, why I decided to do engineering, and it was good practice. I mean, third time's the charm. The third time I came to career fair, I got an internship, so.
The To prepare for the career fair, I figured out which companies were looking for civil engineers, and I chose about 5 or 6 that I was really interested in, and I made it a priority to visit those.
A bunch of us girls get together, we pull out our laptops, we say, hey, like, let's go over each other's resumes, update LinkedIn, update eConnection, make sure that everything's ready to go for tomorrow.
I did my research, figured out what each company did, what I was interested in, and then I made sure to apply online before I came here.
You need to have a firm handshake and you need to know what you're looking for. So practice a firm handshake, and I would practice your introduction.
Try to talk to them like a normal human being. They are not scary, evil people. They're not monsters. They're just like us. They were in our position once, so they know what we're going through. So just try to be personal and just like a normal person.
And we look for leadership skills in student organizations. We also would look at volunteer activities as well.
Willingness to try different things, expand your comfort zone, and also one of the most important things, the ability to communicate and work in teams.
Somebody with relevant work experience and somebody with a passion to apply all those skills in betterment of our organization and, quite frankly, the industry.
What makes U of H engineers stand out the most, there's something else that drives them. They're motivated, they're hungry, they want to succeed, not only for themselves but their friends and the people around them and the school as a whole, which is very rare. Typically you don't see that, and that's really what makes U of H students exceptional. There's a lot of diversity here at the University of Houston, and so you already have a background working with others from different nationalities, different cultures, different things, so you're not the same student we're going to get from somewhere else. You're going to be a unique candidate.
Is there anything else you want to add? Go Cougs!
NCOM is a facility or a center that supports scientists by providing airborne LiDAR observations.
The center also provides the graduate training and education to the students. The Geosensing System Engineering Research Program provides the graduate degree at the University of Houston, both masters, PhDs, and now we're working on undergraduate also.
The students that are in this program do not normally come from a LiDAR background. LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging. It is a method of using lasers to produce 3D maps of the topography.
In other words, it can collect, let's say, 900,000 XYZ points on the ground as the plane flies in 1 second. From that observation, we can produce very detailed topographic observations.
The presence of NCOLM here was a big deal to me because I was interested in LiDAR, and there was a national NSF-funded center, which immediately lent some prestige, and also I knew I would have access to a lot of data and sensors that I wouldn't get anywhere else.
But I think more importantly is the experience and the skill of the people we have in the center. And you can learn to use this technology, but that knowledge that they have gained over the years is indispensable in collecting and getting people models and data that they can use to answer fundamental science questions. The idea is if they have the fundamental science and math backgrounds, we'll be able to teach the other pieces of that to be able to build the 3D models.
What interested me in the GSS program was the ability to do research immediately, which was important to me because there are a number of other schools where they didn't have as much funding for their graduate students, so you just went and you took classes. But here I was able to research right away.
They are also from different principal studies, from geology and geoscience and even engineering.
There aren't too many programs in the United States that offer graduate level studies in something such as geosensing, but yet there's a fairly large demand for this.
And really the tools that we're using are the basic building blocks on how you take the real world and turn it into a virtual 3D world. The students that come here get an exposure to that type of technology, and I'm happy to say our first PhD graduate from the program actually is working at Ford on autonomous vehicles, which is going to be a very hot topic in the next 5 years.
More graduate students should come. I mean, you come here, you get a degree, and it's fairly specialized and it's unique, and you will most probably get a good job, particularly one that you're interested in, because a number of people have gone to exactly what they wanted to do.
I wanted to do mechanical engineering mainly because I was very interested in manufacturing processes and robotics. My dad was in the textile business. He really wanted to establish a textile manufacturing facility. So part of my ambition early childhood was to sort of grow up and help him establish his manufacturing facility. So that's the reason for picking engineering. I think there were three factors that probably made a big impact in my success. One, of course, the family, my dad, my brothers, my sister, and helped us develop a sense of values of always focusing not so much on money but on what we do in life, what impact we are making. Second, education. For somebody who grew up literally on the streets of Bombay to decide to spend every ounce of his energy and his money on our education. So I had this drive to take as many classes as I could every semester. It was intimidating at first, being 17 and in a group of people that who could barely understand me. I literally finished my engineering degree in 6 semesters. I officially graduated in April of 1983. And I think the third factor I would like to talk about is the ability of people in this country to accept new ideas. Most people in the industry probably know me or my organization, Case Services, as changing the way an oil field operates. This just didn't happen overnight. Once Shell gave me the opportunity to start working with their automation project, I was able to significantly change and convince people about doing things differently. Once we sold our first company, both my dad and Rahul really had this passion to give back. It just became very natural for us to do that. We started working with different organizations, got quite involved with several educational institutions, and UH has a very distinct place in our hearts because all 4 of us went to UH. Overall, we are truly happy with the UH engagement. I think it's an award probably not so much for my accomplishment, but it reflects the efforts of UH, efforts of
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the distinguished members of the platform party. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Hannati Rifai, our Master of Ceremonies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hannati Rifai, and I am the Associate Dean for Research and Facilities of the Cullen College of Engineering. Please stand for the presentation of the colors by the University of Houston, ROTC. I then ask you to join Mancore of the Moore School of Music, who will lead us in our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose rough stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please be seated. My name is Joseph Tedesco, and I'm the Dean of the Cullen College of Engineering. On behalf of the University of Houston, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Fall 2016 Cullen College of Engineering Convocation. We are very pleased with your presence here today, and we are happy to have you participate in this important event to honor our graduates. This is a special event for all of us, and I am proud that the college honors its graduates with this ceremony. We believe the receipt of an engineering degree is a significant individual achievement and reflects high intellect, commitment, and sacrifice. We are happy to provide special recognition to our graduates who have achieved this important milestone. A university consists of many interrelated elements that contribute to its quality. First among these are the student body and the faculty. The graduates here today represent the brightest and hardest working among our student body and are among the best students on our campus. We are very proud of them and are happy to honor them today. We are also very proud of our faculty. In addition to being excellent scholars, they are devoted to our students and commit their best talents and energies to the teaching and learning processes. Cullen College of Engineering professors are certainly not the easiest instructors. They have very high standards, but their interest in the students is without parallel. Through their special efforts, Cullen College faculty members provide UH engineering students with a personal education even in this large public institution. I now ask all faculty present today to stand and be recognized. Thank you. In addition to a quality student body and a quality faculty, you also have to have strong leadership for program excellence. In our college, this leadership is provided by members of our Engineering Leadership Board, associate deans, and department chairs. I would now like to introduce each of them and ask them to stand and be recognized. Associate Dean for Research and Facilities, Hannati Rafai. Director of the Division of Undergraduate Programs and Student Success, Fritz Clayton. Associate Dean of Undergraduate Research in the Honors College, Stuart Long. Chair of the Biomedical Engineering Department, Met Nakai. Chair of the Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering Department, Mike Harold. Chair of the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department, Roberto Ballerini. Chair of the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department, Badri Roysam. Chair of the Industrial Engineering Department, Gino Lim. Chair of the Mechanical Engineering Department, Pradeep Sharma. Chair of the Petroleum Engineering Department, Mohammed Solomon. Finally, graduation is a time for family and friends to share in the honor of the graduates, for they too have contributed their encouragement, counsel, love, and support to achieve this important end. For some families, such graduation exercises are a first-time ever event. For others, it continues a family tradition over one or more generations. To demonstrate our appreciation for all those who have made our graduate success possible, I would like to ask all mothers and fathers, spouses, children, grandparents, cousins, siblings, friends, and significant others who participated in the success of our graduates to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. We really appreciate your support and efforts.
Thank you, Dean Tedesco. At this time, I would now like to introduce our convocation speaker, Mr. Jesse Gonzalez. Mr. Jesse Gonzalez received his Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Houston in 1969. He served as chairman of the board for Spa Glass and served as president of the Houston operations for more than 15 years until his retirement in 2009. Mr. Gonzalez is a registered professional engineer in the state of Texas, is past president of the local chapters of Associated Builders and Contractors, as well as Associated General Contractors of America, and is past chairman of the Greater Heights Chamber of Commerce. He is a life member of the Houston Alumni Association and serves on the UH Civil and Environmental Engineering Industrial Advisory Board, as well as on the UH Engineering Leadership Board. Mr. Gonzalez is a recipient of the University of Houston Distinguished Engineering Alumni Award, which he received in 2003, and is the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from the UH Alumni Association in 2011. Mr. Gonzalez, in partnership with 9 other employees, purchased the company Spa Glass in 1991. Soon after the purchase, the company was transitioned to 100% employee ownership with more than 300 employee shareholders, ranging from administrative staff and field laborers to executive management. Since the purchase and employee ownership, the company has thrived, reaching revenue levels of almost $500 million. The company has been voted Best Places to Work by the Houston Business Journal and Texas Monthly, as well as consistently being ranked as one of the Houston's top 10 general contractors and one of the top 400 U.S. general contractors. Mr. Gonzalez is married to his high school sweetheart, Terry, and they have 4 children. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jesse Gonzalez to the podium.
Thank you for that fine introduction. Congratulations, Cougars. This is a very special day for you, your parents, and everyone that provided the support and encouragement that made this possible. I am honored and I'm excited to be here. When Dean Tedesco asked me to address you, I reflected on my own graduation day. To be totally honest, I don't remember anything other than it was held in the Ezekiel Cullen Auditorium. I don't remember who gave the address, nor do I recall anything about the address. That seemed to take a little bit of the pressure off. I decided the best way for me to approach it tonight would be to share a few key chapters of my life and the lessons they taught me. It begins with chapter 1, the American Dream. My parents immigrated from Mexico when I was 3 years old. I learned English much faster than they did. They really struggled with the English language. I became their official interpreter. I remember my dad taking me to buy a new pickup truck. He told me to ask the salesman for the best price. The salesman replied, $700. My dad shook his head and said, too much. Tell him $600. This went on for several rounds until my father finally said, tell the salesman if he doesn't accept my final offer, we're leaving. Guess what? We left that evening in a brand new truck. I was 6 years old, and I had just completed my first business negotiation. My parents taught me the value of hard work, responsibility, support and encouragement, and trust. We as children knew that if we wanted to attend college, they weren't going to insist, they weren't going to push us, they trust us to make the decision. Trust your own judgment is a lesson I learned early in life. I am proud to say that believing in myself has allowed me to live the American dream. Chapter 2 could be called Plans and How They Change. When I graduated from high school, my plans were to attend the University of Texas and study architectural engineering. My high school sweetheart, who is still with me here tonight, made a real strong case for U of H. Civil engineering was the closest curriculum to architectural engineering, so I enrolled along with 3 high school buddies. We had the same classes, we hung out and ran around together, and we played a lot of pool. You know what happened? When the grades got posted, we were all on scholastic probation. We had to make a few adjustments. I suspect a few of you out there may know exactly what I'm talking about. In any case, they changed their majors, I didn't. I got married the summer before my junior year, and although we planned on not having any children until after I graduated, surprise, my wife got pregnant. My initial thoughts was, I need to quit school, go to work full-time to support the family. I went and met with Dr. Artis White, the chairman of the Civil Engineering Department, and when I told him my plans, he immediately said, now wait just a minute, let's not do that. He insisted that I keep at least one class, even when I work full-time. Looking back now, the lesson here is he knew that if I quit school, the odds were I would not be coming back. I never got a chance to thank Dr. White, but I never forgot. As a freshman and sophomore, during my summer and spring breaks, I worked for Spa Glass, a general contractor. The company was founded by Louis Spa and Frank Glass. I worked as a laborer, I worked as a night watchman, and after completing my initial courses in surveying, I worked as a field engineer. I now started working full-time and going to school part-time. At the beginning of my senior year, my wife insisted I go to school full-time because she would support the family. I quit Spa Glass, and went to work full-time and went to school part-time. At the beginning of my senior year, I needed 35 hours to graduate. My wife insisted that I go to school full-time, that she would support the family. I quit Spyglass and took 17 and 18 hours back to back. I literally closed the library down every night. Terry had made a huge sacrifice being away from our son, and I wasn't going to let her or me down. I made the dean's list both semesters. You could say the takeaway from this time in my life is in the form of a beatitude. Blessed are the flexible, for they will not get bent out of shape. The next chapter covers my early career at Spyglass. When I graduated, I had multiple job offers, but I was attending a meeting of the local chapter of the American Society of Civil Engineers when I ran into Mr. Spall. He asked me what I'd been doing since he hadn't seen me the previous year. When I told him I'd been going to school, had just graduated, and was looking for a job, he handed me his calling card and asked me to call him. I met with him, and he offered me a job right on the spot. I still remember that conversation. Jesse, I want you to come work for us. How about $700 a month? Geez, Mr. Spall, that sounds great, but Exxon's already offered me $750. Jesse, how about $750? Mr. Spall, you got an employee. From that simple exchange, my career spanned 40 years, beginning as a project manager and ending as chairman of the board. I was very fortunate to have had some great mentors along the way, including the vice president of construction, who would, from time to time, ask me to join him to go do a project review. The minute we left the job site, got in the car and pulled away, he would ask, okay, what were your observations? I got really good at recognizing good management versus bad management, good planning versus bad planning, and efficient execution. Mr. Spall was also a terrific mentor, for he demonstrated how to lead a company with very high moral principles, character, and integrity. In today's environment, politics for sure, that may come as a surprise, but ethics is a very important part of being an engineer. The lesson here is you never stop learning because life never stops teaching. Chapter 4 is about an unexpected new challenge. I was one of two vice presidents for construction when Mr. Spall and Mr. Glass asked me to join him in the penthouse conference room. They surprised me when they asked me to start a new company. Spyglass was a union contractor, but the non-union market was experiencing significant growth and they wanted to explore it. A couple of thoughts occurred to me at the time. I was one of several vice presidents. Mr. Spall was the president, Mr. Glass was the CEO, so I didn't see an opportunity for advancement anytime soon. The other thought that flashed across my mind, and you can call it conceit, you can call it confidence, but I was very sure of myself. I felt that if things didn't work out, I could always do what I had been doing for Spyglass, and if not for them, I could do it for somebody else. I had a great education, had gained significant experience. I was ready for something exciting, a new challenge. This is my key lesson, and it has held throughout my life. When an opportunity presents itself, you can either take the risk, have self-confidence, believe and trust in yourself, or you can let it pass you by. Jack Canfield said it another way. You can't worry about failure, worry about the chances you miss when you don't even try. Chapter 5, this might be called So You Like Challenges. Over the next 10 years, I built this non-union company from the ground up with the help of some great employees. It wasn't easy. At first, I didn't know how to read a balance sheet. I didn't know how to prepare an operating budget. Yep, I had failed to take any business classes while I studied engineering at U of H. I had to learn the business side of the business on the fly. But over time, we were building projects that were as large in scope and as challenging as those being built by Spall Glass. This seemed to quell the competitive spirit in me. Mr. Spall and Mr. Glass didn't have a succession plan, so in the early 1980s, they sold the company to a foreign entity. In 1989, during the worst financial time in the history of Spall Glass, I was summoned by the CEO of the U.S. operations for the foreign owner. He shocked me when he said, "Jesse, I want you to take over all of the Spall Glass operations." Yikes, I really like challenges, but I knew the dire situation at Spall Glass. We had monthly meetings where the financials were reviewed for each operating group, and with minor exception, they were all experiencing significant losses. Either because of luck or the way we operated, my firm was still profitable. After a week or so, I accepted the job, which I knew wasn't going to be easy. I closed down several operating groups and consolidated the remaining companies into one very skinny and lean company. I had to terminate a lot of long-term employees. For the first time in my career, I felt like I was going backwards. In my own mind, I felt like I only had two choices. I could either let the company go bankrupt, or I could carry out my responsibilities as Chief Executive Officer. The lesson I learned in this chapter: sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing is the same thing. This last chapter could be titled Becoming an Entrepreneur. In 1991, because of the poor performance of all the U.S. holdings for the foreign owner, they decided to sell or liquidate all their companies. A group of us got together and decided we'd take the risk and purchase Spall Glass. We saw it as an opportunity to believe and bet on ourselves. Soon after the purchase, we made Spall Glass into an employee-owned company, and the rest is history. We experienced a lot of success, and the company is still going strong. It has consistently been ranked as one of the top 10 general contractors in Houston by the Houston Business Journal, and one of the top 400 U.S. contractors by Engineering News-Record. It has also been recognized multiple times as one of Houston and one of Texas' best places to work. The lesson here goes back to having self-confidence and believing in yourself. Just think, if you can't bet on yourself, who can you bet on? Those, in a nutshell, are some of the lessons I've learned thus far. But let me add a few final thoughts. In preparing for today, I read that most graduation addresses focus on the value of education, the importance of dreaming and persevering, and the exciting nature of the future. They are supposed to inspire and motivate the students to achieve their post-graduation goals. Well, I told you at the beginning, I didn't remember anything about my graduation address, so I really doubt that it inspired and motivated me. So here's what I think. By you being here today, you've already demonstrated perseverance, goal setting, and commitment. You also realize that there are no foolproof recipes or shortcuts to success. I shared with you some of my lifetime experiences and lessons, not because they're spectacular or unique, but because they illustrate familiar stories and themes you already know, that hard work pays off, that challenges require courage and confidence, and that slow and steady wins the race. My belief is that within each of you, you have the DNA to dream big, the DNA that can push you, drive you to take risk, accept challenges, and compete. It is up to you to stoke the fire within you. That, I believe, is your biggest challenge. In closing, let me make one final suggestion. Go out and purchase a book written by Angela Duckworth, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. Let me read a quote from this fine book. "There are no shortcuts to excellence. Developing real expertise, figuring out really hard problems, it all takes time, longer than most people imagine. Grit is about working on something you care about so much that you're willing to stay loyal to it. It's doing what you love, but not just falling in love, staying in love. My wish for you is that you're able to do what you love and stay passionate and excited by your work for a long and challenging career. Congratulations and God bless you. Thanks for including me today. Have a great holiday and Christmas season. Go Cougars.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, for your excellent comments. We now turn to the recognition part of our program. At this time, I ask that Dean Joseph Tedesco and Mr. Jesse Gonzalez come forward for a special presentation.
It is an honor and a privilege to recognize Jesse Gonzalez for his many contributions to the Cullen College of Engineering. Jesse has been a longtime friend and supporter of the Cullen College. He attributes his professional success to his wife and high school sweetheart, Terry, who also joins us here today. Jesse and Terry were early contributors to the new multidisciplinary research and engineering building, which will open its doors next year, and have generously supported Cullen College students through endowed scholarship in civil engineering. In honor of their transformational support for the Cullen College's academic and research programs, Jesse and Terry received the college's Bridge Builder Awards in 2010. Jesse and Terry, on behalf of the faculty, staff, and students in the Cullen College of Engineering at the University of Houston, I present you with a small token of our appreciation for your outstanding accomplishments in the field of civil engineering and your unwavering support of the Cullen College. The inscription reads, "The students, faculty, and staff of the Cullen College of Engineering honor Jesse Gonzalez, Bachelor of Science, Civil Engineering, 1969, Fall 2016 Convocation Speaker. In recognition of your unwavering commitment to our students, support for our academic and research programs, and years of dedicated service to the college. Thank you.
We are fortunate to have some of the best students on campus, and many receive deserved honors. Each academic year, one student is chosen by a faculty committee appointed by the dean for the Best Dissertation Award. Selection is based on the originality and importance of the research and the potential for the student to make a significant contribution to the discipline. This semester, we have one outstanding PhD dissertation award winner. The winner will receive a plaque and a check for $1,000. And it's my distinct pleasure to announce the recipient of the Fall 2016 Best Dissertation Award is Fatima Ahmadpour. She is PhD in mechanical engineering. Her dissertation title is Statistical Mechanics of 2D Materials from Biological Membranes to Graphene. Her dissertation advisor, Dr. Pradeep Sharma. I now ask Fatima and her major professor, Dr. Sharma, to please stand and be recognized. Congratulations to you and your major professor. Now I ask Dr. Fritz Clayton, Director of the Division of Undergraduate Programs and Student Success, come forward to recognize the students who are graduating with special university distinction.
Thank you, Dr. Rafai. So the first group of students we're going to recognize is based on their GPA. So we have three categories. Students graduating with a GPA of above a 3.5 graduate cum laude, which is translated with honors. With all undergraduates that are graduating cum laude, please stand to be recognized. The next designation are those students graduating with a GPA of 3.75 and above. That designation is magna cum laude with high honors. Would those students please stand to be recognized? Thank you. From time to time, in the College of Engineering, which everyone knows is the most rigorous college in all of on the whole campus, we occasionally have graduates that graduate with a GPA of 3.9 or above. That designation is summa cum laude with highest honors. Would you please stand to be recognized? Many students, undergraduate students here, are part of our Honors College. Our Honors College is an opportunity for students to participate not only in the College of Engineering, but in courses that are offered by the Honors College from freshman year through senior year. This semester, we have students that are graduating under one of 3 designations. We have students graduating with university honors, meaning they have fulfilled the requirements of the Honors College curriculum. We also have students that are graduating with collegiate honors, in that they have completed the Honors College minor. And we also have students that are members of the University of Houston's Honors College. With these 3 distinct group of students, please stand to be recognized. Thank you very much.
In addition to our outstanding students in the Honors College, we also want to recognize the youngest and oldest candidates. And if you are in attendance, I ask them to stand and be recognized. Alumni Rufai is the youngest candidate, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering, and is only 21 years old. Mark Sokolau is the oldest candidate, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering, and he is only 62 years young. Thank you. At this time, we will now recognize our graduates, and I ask our convocation marshals to line up our students. The college provides instruction leading to the Bachelor of Science degree in the following fields: biomedical, chemical, civil, computer, electrical, industrial, mechanical, petroleum. We offer Master of Science and Doctor of Philosophy degrees in these fields and in several interdisciplinary areas. The names of the candidates for graduation this semester are listed in your program. Not all of them are present today, but we will now recognize those who are. Before we start, I want to remind each graduate that we have arranged for a professional photographer to take your picture. In particular, the photographer will take your picture as Dean Tedesco shakes your hand. Please remember to pause and face the camera until the picture is taken. You will be able to view your proofs on the photographer's website with directions and a link posted on our college website. I now invite Dr. Jacinta Conrad, Associate Professor of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering, to introduce our doctoral candidates. I ask Mr. Jesse Gonzalez and the Department Chair of Biomedical Engineering to assemble at the appointed place. And I ask that Dean Tedesco join me on the stage as we congratulate the doctoral candidates.
For the Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Engineering, Yung Peng, to be hooded by Dr. Yung Chun Zhong. Yeah, oh, sorry, you needed to go with your student? Yeah, go. Yeah, that's what I was. So, probably walk. Okay. For the candidates for Doctor of Philosophy in Chemical Engineering. Imran Alam, to be hooded by Dr. Vimuri Balakutaya. Tiang Wu, to be hooded by Dr. Vimuri Balakutaya. Melanie Jane Hazlitt, to be hooded by Dr. Fritz Clayton. Megan Ann Ketchum, to be hooded by Drs. Jeffrey Reimer and Peter Vekalov. Manjesh Kumar, to be hooded by Dr. Jeffrey Reimer. Lei Liu, to be hooded by Dr. Vincent Donnelly. Ibukun John McKinde, to be hooded by Dr. Fritz Clayton. Shuai Chen, to be hooded by Dr. Patrick Serino. Sham Sridhar, to be hooded by Dr. Dimitri Economou. Monique Shante Wilburn, to be hooded by Dr. Mike Harold. For Doctor of Philosophy in Civil Engineering, Bahore Basirat, to be hooded by Dr. Kumaraswamy Vipulanandan. Kibrab Alam Gebrselassie, to be hooded by Dr. Kumaraswamy Vipulanandan. Saeed Karimi, to be hooded by Dr. Kalyana Babu Nashatrala. Mohammed Shabui, to be hooded by Dr. Kalyana Babu Nashatrala. San Shu, to be hooded by Dr. Kalyana Babu Nashatrala. For Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, Krishna Kota, to be hooded by Dr. David Jackson. Moona Young, to be hooded by Dr. David Jackson. Sohini Sengupta, to be hooded by Dr. Stuart Long. Unong Gu, to be hooded by Dr. Ju Han. Si Rei Shin, to be hooded by Dr. Fritz Clayton. For Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial Engineering, Jae-young Cho, to be hooded by Dr. Gino Lim. Li Liao, to be hooded by Dr. Gino Lim. For Doctor of Philosophy in Materials Engineering, Yifei Li, to be hooded by Dr. Yan Yao. Sean Michael Berg, to be hooded by Dr. Hale Ardabili. Taylor Hidemi Kelly, to be hooded by Dr. Hale Ardabili. William Quinn Walker, to be hooded by Dr. Hale Ardabili. For Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical Engineering, Mejdi Kamun, to be hooded by Dr. Hale Ardabili. Fatime Ahmadpour, to be hooded by Dr. Pradeep Sharma. Farah Hamami Kamun, to be hooded by Dr. Yashashri Kulkarni. Syed Mohammad Parvasi, to be hooded by Dr. Fritz Clayton. This concludes the presentation of the doctoral candidates for the Cullen College of Engineering.
I now invite Dr. Jagannatha Rao, Director of Online Programs and Extension Services, to present our master's candidates.
Presenting the candidates for Master of Chemical Engineering, Michael Richard Gerber. Sha Huang. Jennifer Johnson. Rodney Leger. Aymara Carolina Pacheco. Jonathan J. Kame Talor. We now present candidates for the Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. Zhen Yang. We now present candidates for the Master of Science in Civil Engineering. Harish Hegde. Jing O Lee. Wanzi Liu. Yunhao Lu. Rajagopal Nannapaneni. Dhrudat Patel. Robin Powdell. Harish Chandra Bhanu Tadikonda. Priyanka Tirumala Raju. Huai Quang Tran. Saurav Regmi. We now present candidates for the Master of Science in Computer and Systems Engineering. Ahmad Ogunfayo. We now present candidates for the Master of Electrical Engineering. Nitesh Kumar Mishra. Puya Beji. Simratbir Singh Pannu. Advita Parker. Asher Rahman. Sagar Shivaram. Ahmad Mugiz Hassan. Raiden Ramzi Nasruddin. Shioma Endobu. Kozema Sunel. We now present candidates for the Master of Science in Electrical Engineering. Alaba Olumide Esho. Pratik Prakash Gaure. Balanaga Vamsidhar Grandhi. Abraham Oladipo. Michael Onyedika Umano. Lifeng Yan. We now present candidates for the Master of Science in Environmental Engineering. Divya Rishi Dhiman. Saurabh Nomula. Pujit Pamulapati. Rakiba Rauf. Piluja Shivananthan. Susana Valiho. We now present candidates for the Master of Industrial Engineering. Dheeraj Panditrao Chaugale. Hasika Dasika. Dinesh Devarajan. Sriram Dintakuti. Karthik Srinivasan Kandasamy. Shrestha Mandadi. Ivan James Morris. Shravan Krishna Nara. Shri Pranay Potluri. Praveen Ramesh. Ashika Satyamurthy. Pujita Satyavarapu. Harihara Sekar. Ajay Raj Selvaraj. Nityanand Yogaraj Shanmugam. Rajkumar Shanmuga Sundaram. Michael Graham Conlin. Dwarakesh Sridhar. Vamsi Kaushik Sridharan. Vipin Tamane. Anne Trin. We now present the candidate for the Master of Science in Materials Engineering, Kwan Yi Lee. We now present candidates for the Master of Mechanical Engineering. Diego Alejandro Rojas. We now present candidates for the Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Carlos Santiago Cano. Naveen Chanda. Kiran Kumar Reddy Chalamala. Roslyn Hasmukh Aka Harrison Christian. Ifose Vincent Egbobo. Bahares Islami. Ronald Obokwai Irerua. Deepti Jamula. Mukund Kumar Manish Bhai Kacha. Vinay Kumar Reddy Mandadi. Syed Muhammad Sajadi. Shadi Shariat Nia. Xiaoyang Shen. We now present candidates for the Master of Petroleum Engineering. Kumara Mauptik Chittipeddi. Saif Hossam Eldin El-Fiqi. Jingya Guan. Kaiji Guo. Chen Shi Wang. Shuanda Wu. We now present candidates for the Master of Science in Subsea Engineering. Abeyumi Adishina Adidiron. Ola Oluwa Arayunte Alalade. Adiwole Ayodeji Badmus. Ovidio Cesar Gonzalez. Ahmad Oluwada Mililola Isiaka. Chaitanya Vardhan Kandula. Gary M. Myers. Oluwa Bosayor Modupe Ololorunipa. Oluwarotomi Okikolash Shoge. Karthik Subramanian. This concludes the presentation of the master's candidates for the Cullen College of Engineering.
I now invite Dr. Fritz Clayton, Director of the Division of Undergraduate Programs and Student Success, to present our bachelor's candidates.
All right, this is what we have been waiting for. We have the best, the brightest, the hardest working students on this campus here in the College of Engineering, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there is one more test. Let's see if you pass the test. Whose house? Whose house? Whose house? All right, let's go. It is my privilege to introduce the candidates for the Bachelor's of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Nada Yasser Inen. Julianne Deborah Stutz. Aubrey Claire Swilling. It is now my privilege to introduce the candidates for the Bachelor's of Science degree in Chemical Engineering. Juan Emilio Arcinega. Yasser F. Aziz. Jimmy Dang. Johnny Dang. Matthew Gage Murray. Manuel Enrique Rojas O'Callahan. Chad Allen Sims. Kai Thi Trung. Hala Bareg Abdo. Now we have the Bachelor's of Science degree in Civil Engineering. William Gregory Arsola, magna cum laude. Tanzib Ahmad Chowdhury. Jorge Nicandro Cuevas Quintanilla. Alexander Paul Deeb. Farhan Zuhair Dusaji. Christopher Leonard Frost. Doroteo Garcia. Jose Garza. Matthew Shane Gill, magna cum laude. Cesar Ariel Gonzalez. Daniel Fernando Gracia. Jacob Allen Logan. Walter Mata, cum laude. Henry Hung Win. Shauna Elizabeth O'Hara. Sean Lee Terrio Smith. Evelyn Stewart. Tu Gia Trung. Amin Sami Zamzam. Basil M. Zibdawi. It is now my privilege to introduce the candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Engineering. Corey Nicole Bradshaw. Chao Fen Chen. James Everett Cockrell III. Albion Fezga. Jitten George. Larry W. Gerhardt. Christian S. Kraus. Carlos Alejandro Quiroga. It is now my privilege to introduce the candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering. Jean-Guire Awan. Luis Joel Camacho Diaz. Christian Paul Carlin. Michelle Dong. Hamid Faizi. Zachary Tyler Freeman. Crystal Darlene Gengler. Patrick Groh, cum laude. Larry Hernandez, summa cum laude. Quen Ngoc Lee, magna cum laude. Justin Lovelace, cum laude. Andrew James Mikey, magna cum laude. John Charles Nimick, magna cum laude. Emmanuel O'Lear, cum laude. Sung Woo Park, cum laude. Parth Kamlesh Patel. Alyssa Danielle Peloso. Nguyen Trung Phung. Joseph Robert Pompa. Frank Rodriguez, cum laude. Charles Gerson Rollo. Adeline Rukoba. Albert Q. Trong. Vin Vu Quang Trong. Eric Randall Van Aller. Eli Stephen Walker. Darian Wijaya. Michael Leon Wilkerson. Joshua Alexander Zavala. It is now my privilege to introduce the candidates for the bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. Jessica Olvera, cum laude. It is now my privilege to introduce the candidates for the bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Bradley Kyle Armstrong. Leo Bartos. Homero Benavides. Adriano Antonio Corbita Lavino. Ezine Chima. Christina Dillon. Javad Jonic. Colleen Lee Evans, cum laude. Jorge Gonzalez. Juan Gonzalez. Mauricio Gonzalez. Jeffrey Richard Stephen Hay, cum laude. Jonathan Doe Lay. Pituxa Sherry Limsi Rivalo. Victor Baez Montano. Chance Lynn Mosher. Hugh Min Win. Wee Pham Win. Willens Jerison Padilla, magna cum laude. Alexander James Pearsall. Carlos Michael Regaro. Barbara Victoria Salas. Isayuro Sanchez. Mahir Wahid Sheikh. Usman Farak Sheikh. Eleno Augustin Silva. Tyler R. Thorpe. Daisy Rose Trevino. Jacob D. Walker. It is now my privilege to introduce the candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree in Petroleum Engineering. Mavish Ahmad, cum laude. Mohammed Omar Ahmad. Saeed Shazeb Ahmad. Sahid Rahil Ijaz. Hector Luis Alarcon. Rehab Taha Al Khalifa. Daniela Arsenio Gaias Murillo, cum laude. Heather Arvelio Rodriguez. Stratton Allen Arnold. Chris Enoch Bimokono. Not to be undone by Destin Mervili Bimokono. Iman Shribi. Eric Alfonso Cordero. Juan Teodoro Delmis Rodriguez. Nicolas Diaz. Mise Dina Tone. David Andres Dorado. Melvin T. Ekberg. Mohammed Ahmad El Saleh, cum laude. Sigfrido Juan Manuel Esperanza. Justin Colbert Everett. Michael Douglas Gaither. Ruben Dario Geraldo Padilla. Jose Abraham Gonzalez. Monica Richelle Hayes. Jingfeng Hu. Jesus Jimenez Jaime. Mohammed Ahmad Kahili. Mikiel Katsifs. Samuel Thomas Kite. Jesse Tao Lai. Eric Min Lee, cum laude. Mabel Charlene Lee. Yui Lee. Clinton McKay Martin. Matt Edward McLaughlin, magna cum laude. Casey Lynn McKinley. Rami Ali Mohsen. Annie T. Nguyen, cum laude. Sagar Mukesh Punchal. William Lewis Parsons. Rebecca Perales. Kevin Win Pham. Aziz Rajan. Christian David Ramirez. Kristen E. Reeves. Firose Ruintan. Jimmy Rufy. Steve Safar. Mina Nassef Shanuda. William Russell Smollett, cum laude. Mark Terry Sokolow. Rudolph Stevens Simzak. Catherine T. Tran, cum laude. Brandon Joseph Trower. David Addison Tyrock. Anna Vasleva. Angelia Vioni, magna cum laude. Robert Henry Wallace III. Yuquin Wu. Songho X Ain. Layla Zain Ali. Ich Zhang. Whose house? Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentation of the undergraduates. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to all our degree recipients. Everyone, please join me in a round of applause for our newest alumni of the Cullen College of Engineering. Much like Mr. Gonzalez, I hope that you will continue in the path of service to the college and that you will come back and visit often. This brings to a close the fall 2016 convocation of the Cullen College of Engineering. I congratulate each of you again and wish you all the best. I hope that you will succeed in your career goals and that you will always look back on your experience at the University of Houston with fond memories and favor. And I hope that you will come back often in the years to come. You entered the college as students. Today you leave as alumni. Go Cougs.
I would now like for all of our staff members to stand and be recognized. These are the people who put in long hours to make this convocation possible. For this, we are most appreciative. As you leave, please use the exits near section 116, which will take you to the Cullen Boulevard side of the building. This is the side where you will be able to join your graduates, section 116. Thank you for coming, and if everyone will please rise, we will sing together the University of Houston alma mater found on page 29 of your program. The conclusion of the recessional will mark the end of this ceremony. Now, I ask Mancor to lead us as we sing our alma mater.
All hail to thee, our Houston University.